Welcome to the Chester Ultra 100 mile race brief. Thanks for joining us. My name is Wayne Drinkwater and I'm the GB Ultras race director for the event. And today we're going to cover some of the key points that you need to know for the race itself. Race HQ and race registration is at Helsby Hill Sports Village at the athletics track towards the back of the complex. On the Friday evening before the race from 5:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. or on the race day itself in the morning from 4:15 a.m. to 5:45 a.m. Parking is available on site at Helsby Hill Sports Village and it is free of charge. So the race will have a mass start at 6 a.m. sharp and joins onto a series of trails. Let's go over the checkpoint locations during the race. So checkpoint 1 is at 8 miles into the event and it's at Towers Road, which is at Chester City Centre. Checkpoint 2 is at Eccleston Ferry car park at 14 miles. Checkpoint 3 is at Warrington Village Hall at 20 miles. Checkpoint 4 is at Peckforton and Beeston Village Hall at 30 miles. Checkpoint 5 is at Delamere Forest Barnesbridge car park at 42 miles. Checkpoint 6 is at Frodsham Community Centre at 50 miles. Checkpoint 7 is at Sandy Lane Community Centre at 64 miles. Checkpoint 8 is at Spike Island at 71 miles. Checkpoint 9 is at Frodsham Community Centre at 85 miles. Checkpoint 10 is at 92 miles and the finish just over 100 miles into the event. Okay, so along the race routes we'll be marking the routes using red biodegradable tape. We'll also be putting up laminated Chester Ultra signs, arrow signs, different directions at key turns and key points during the event. But the race route itself actually follows a number of trails which will help you kind of stay on route. So after leaving Helsby Hill Sports Village, one of the first key sections that you'll be joining is the Shropshire Canal. That will then take you all the way up to Chester City Centre, which is pretty much 10 miles into the race itself. So then you'll be leaving the Shropshire Canal and going past Chester Racecourse and also crossing over the Old Dee Bridge to join onto the Marches Way. The Marches Way will then take you to checkpoint 2, Eccleston Ferry. You're going to leave the Marches Way, which is beside the River Dee. You're going to leave the Marches Way at Oldford, and then you're going to be on a very brief road section and pathway section until Warrington Village Hall, where you'll be rejoining the Shropshire Canal again. So the Shropshire Canal then leads to the Sandstone Trail. The Sandstone Trail is an incredibly well marked route. It is where the bulk of your initial checkpoints are actually located. So Peckforton and Beeston Village Hall, there is Delamere Forest, and there is Frodsham Community Centre. Frodsham Community Centre is just off the Sandstone Trail, but it'll pretty much take you all the way there. Okay, so that is the Sandstone Trail. After leaving Frodsham, you will be joined onto the River Weaver, and then the River Weaver will be joined onto the Trent and Mersey Canal, and then that will be joined onto the Bridgewater Canal. The Bridgewater Canal leads all the way to Warrington and Sandy Lane. After leaving Sandy Lane, you'll be heading on to the Trans-Pennine Trail. Really well marked, really straightforward route again, and that'll lead you all the way to Spike Island. So at Spike Island checkpoint, you'll then be crossing the Jubilee Bridge at Roncana to join onto the Bridgewater Canal. The Bridgewater Canal will then take you all the way back to the River Weaver, Preston Brook and the River Weaver. The River Weaver will then link you back to Frodsham Community Centre, and that forms the second loop of the race itself, so the Warrington and Roncana loop. From Frodsham, after leaving there, you'll be joined onto the North Cheshire Way, and it looks like this. It's a really well marked route, and it'll take you to Helsby Hill and also all the way over to the Shropshire Canal for the finish at Helsby Hill Sports Village. Okay, so there is a 32-hour cut-off for the event itself. Largely it's a trail event, so we would really recommend a trail shoe or a road shoe for this, depending on the weather and the build-up to the event. Okay, so on the support teams front, you're more than welcome to arrange and plan to have your own support team to support your progress during the race itself. If they wanted to follow your progress, then what they can do is they can use the live tracking, which we'll have sent you the link, and it's also available on our website. Basically, they'll be able to follow your progress, put a tick beside your name on the leaderboard, and it will present your position on the map itself, and that will give them a really good insight into where you're up to. It's really important that your support team does not obstruct other runners and does not obstruct the event team. Okay, so race number visibility. Your race number should be attached to your front at all times. When you're going through the checkpoints, we really need to see what race number you are. It needs to be identifiable. So please remember that. We can stop you during the race to ask you to put them on your front. Water hazards throughout the route. Guys, be careful, obviously any canals, rivers, water courses that we're going to be passing by. Please also remember that sometimes it's quite a narrow trail, so we really recommend single file unless you're overtaken. And also just because there's other trail users on the route as well. So please give way where necessary and act sensibly, just move behind one another if necessary there. Bear in mind that at certain checkpoints there is very limited parking. So if we had 300 people taking part in a race and 300 cars at every single checkpoint, it's just not going to be viable. Okay, there's going to be some parking issues along the way. And we just want to avoid that. So what we've stipulated on the website is certain dedicated support points where your support team can come and meet you along the route. So on this particular race, you are more than welcome to have a pacer, but you can only have a pacer from 50 miles into the event. So that's everybody that's taken part in the event. You have that opportunity of having somebody run with you, pace you for the second half of the event. So from Frodsham Community Centre onwards, you can have that pacer to utilise to kind of help you kind of motivate you through the night, that kind of thing really. So if you wish to, you're more than welcome to kind of keep that pace going, keep the fire burning as it were, but basically you still have to carry your own kit. Essentially you have to do everything that you were doing in the first 50 miles. It's just really to kind of keep you in the zone if you need that. So you're more than welcome to utilise them. They should be on foot as well. They shouldn't be on a bike. They shouldn't really be any other thing other than running or walking beside you, as it were. So they can carry extra supplies, but you have to carry your mandatory kit at all times. And it's from Frodsham Community Centre onwards. You can also have utilise somebody who do the from 50 mile to 70 mile, and then you might be a change in pacer to somebody else who's taken over from that person. Okay, that's absolutely fine as well. Essentially, that's up to you. You don't need to have a pacer, but you can only have it from 50 miles. It's only fair and reasonable across the board if everybody starts the race equally, and then from 50 mile onwards, you've got that option. Okay, so the mandatory kit, this is the bare minimum kit that you have to carry for the race. So we're just going to remind runners that basically if you're not carrying all of the necessary kit that you need for the event, then you might be jeopardising your own safety or the safety of others. So really, we want everybody to be on an equal playing field, and therefore the same mandatory kit is required throughout the race itself. Okay, so if you are seen at random kit checks or at the finish line where we do another kit check potentially, if you're seen to not be carrying the correct kit, then time penalties could be imposed. We don't want to disqualify you, certainly not if you've come so far, during the race itself, you've done 40 or 50 miles. We don't want to disqualify you, but time penalties will be imposed if we deem necessary. When it comes to your mandatory kits, this is the bare minimum kit. So if you feel that you want to carry a small first aid kit, if you feel that you want to carry an extra pair of socks, or any special nutrition due to dietary requirements or allergies, would recommend that you carry that with you too. Okay, so please have a look at the mandatory kit. Just think of it as the bare minimum kit that you need to carry, and anything additional is up to you. Okay, so diversions on the route. So from our side of things, if there are any diversions on the route itself in the lead up to the race, we'll email you, and we'll also update the social media channels. Please bear in mind that sometimes these things happen and sometimes they're taken out of our hands, and it's required works, essential works that is deemed necessary by the local authority or by the landowner itself. The most current race routes, GPX wise and mapping, is actually on the GB Ultras website. On the page, halfway down the page, the map, the download GPX is available there. That is the current, most up-to-date version of the race route. Okay, so at checkpoints, what can you expect food-wise? Okay, there's going to be a range of snacks, fruit, sandwiches, savouries, water, juice, cola, sweets, you name it really. There's going to be a good range to choose from. Please remember that if you've got any specific dietary requirements, please bring your own. Okay. Equally, if you've got any allergies, any concerns, please make sure that you're asking either the event team at the checkpoint or you bring in your own food. Itself on 100-mile races, what we generally do is at village halls or community centres, so where we have cooking facilities, we also do some hot food. So that's normally pasta or something along those lines, and soup. So that's really kind of what we tend to do on the 100-mile races. Slightly different for Race Across Scotland, which is a 4-day event where we tend to do something different per checkpoint. But when it comes to the 100-mile races, we tend to give you a bit more to go at. So particularly 50 miles onwards at village hall facilities, you'll tend to find something a bit more substantial, a bit more real food there. Every single runner has got the option of giving GB Ultras a drop bag, which we can take to 50 miles into the event at Frodsham Community Centre, which is checkpoint 6. The drop bag can also be utilised at checkpoint 9, which is again where it's revisited at about 84 miles into the event at Frodsham Community Centre. On the bottom of your bib number, when you come to race registration, you've got the option of ripping off the lower section and connecting that to your bag. So it should be collect your bib number, then your tracker, and then you've got your drop bag to hand in. If you're travelling from a decent distance away and you are getting public transport or along those lines, or if you're from abroad and you wish to have a finish line drop bag, that's absolutely fine as well. If you parked at the start stroke finish location, then there's probably no need for that finish line drop bag because you can store it safely inside your car. So basically there is an option for a finish line bag as well. Should really be, all the drop bags should really be no more than really a medium-sized hold all. You know, that kind of size really, but it's there if you need it, it's there. But the Frodsham Community Centre is just one drop bag which you'll revisit twice, so it just saves you kind of having two drop bags and carrying twice as much stuff and going through two bags at the same time. Just one bag is absolutely fine. The drop bags will be taken to the finish line when the checkpoint closes, with the odd exception during the race where certain personnel may be travelling from Frodsham to the finish. Please ensure that any litter is nice and tight, packed away in your pouch, in your race vest during the event. Sometimes people accidentally drop litter along the way, so please make sure that you're not one of those. Okay. All the events are cupless, so if you want to drink other than your bottle at checkpoints, if you want to drink, please remember to bring your own cup, or it's also available on the GB Ultra shop. Road crossings, please be mindful and careful when crossing roads throughout the events. If there is a pedestrian crossing or anything like that, please do use it. Okay. Emergency instructions. If there is a minor injury, please let the checkpoint, a race marshal or race HQ know. Only in an emergency, please follow the following instructions. That's a risk to life and limb. Number 1, use your foil, emergency blanket and any spare clothing that you've got. Number 2, trigger the SOS button on your tracker. So just on your tracker here, just the race tracker logo there, just underneath it, gently press it approximately 3 to 5 seconds and it will alert Race HQ and will then dispatch the medical team. That is no substitute for dialing 999. So step 3 is dial 999 and ask for an ambulance. Step 4, when possible, call Race HQ. Okay, the SOS button might be damaged during a fall or anything like that. So when possible, call Race HQ. Number 5, attract the attention of fellow runners shouting or using your whistle. Okay. At all times, your race number must be visible. Okay, we need to see it on the front of your person. So when you're going through checkpoints, it's easier for the event team. That concludes the race brief for the Chester Ultra 100-mile race. If you have any questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to get in touch on email at info@gbultras.com. Thanks so much for watching the video. Thanks for all the support and enjoy the event.